Well, good morning. It is Friday. It is March the 26th, and we continue to be on these last times here just before Jesus is crucified. All that he's going through. The reading that's suggested for today is John chapter 19, verses 4 through 16. The opening reading that he puts under the title. The title is The Vacillations of Pilate, and the scripture passage he gives with that, however, is Mark 15. The reading, John 19, 4 through 16, but he quotes from Mark 15:15 here, wanting to satisfy the crowd. Make that your motivation and you're in trouble, okay? You're always in trouble because you can't. Wanting to satisfy the crowd, Pilate released Barabbas to them. He had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified. The vacillations of Pilate. Kind of touched on this a couple days ago, or actually yesterday, the trial before Pilate. I may have gotten ahead of myself in mentioning some of my own perspectives on the devotion. I think maybe John Stott will tell me if I was right or wrong. Pontius Pilate, procurator of Judea, was an able administrator, but sometimes insensitive to Jewish scruples. In the Gospels, we see him impaled on the horns of a dilemma, an old phrase, torn between justice and expediency. On the one hand, as we saw yesterday, he knew Jesus was innocent, and he said so repeatedly. On the other hand, he feared the consequences if he did not yield to the mob. The evangelists depict him as wanting to release Jesus, Luke 23:20, and wanting to satisfy the crowd, Mark 15:15. But he found that he could not fulfill both wants simultaneously. It is fascinating to watch him wriggling in his painful predicament. He tried 4 ways of avoiding a clear decision. Firstly, he tried to shift the responsibility to somebody else, discovering that Jesus came from Galilee and was therefore in Herod's jurisdiction. He sent him to Herod for trial. But Herod found no basis for the charges against Jesus. Secondly, he tried to do the right thing, that is, release Jesus, for the wrong reason, because of the Passover custom. Freeing Jesus as an act of clemency instead of an act of justice. Thirdly, he tried to satisfy the crowd with half measures, having Jesus flogged instead of crucified. And fourthly, he tried to persuade the crowd of his integrity by washing his hands publicly, even while contradicting it by sending Jesus to the cross. Each was a subterfuge, an attempt to avoid a commitment by compromise. Why was Pilate so weak? Such a moral coward? John tells us, the Jews kept shouting to him, "If you let this man go, you are no friend of Caesar." And that's in the John 19 passage for the suggested reading, verse 12. That settled it. The issue was plain. He had to choose between 2 kings. To his everlasting shame, he made the wrong choice. He chose to be a friend of Caesar and an enemy of all reason and justice. His name has been immortalized in the clause of the creed that declares that Jesus, quote, suffered under Pontius Pilate. I love that devotion. I love that meditation. Pilate, with all the power he had, tried to please the crowd. And it turned out he couldn't be honest to the truth and do the crowd pleasing. That is, I wish when I was young that would have been drilled into me, because I thought I could do both. Played the church game well growing up as a preacher's kid. Was the perfect little preacher's boy in church on Sunday. But I found that being a preacher's kid wasn't so popular with kids at school. And so everything I knew about being a Christian, everything I knew about the scriptures, kind of went into a back closet in my life while I tried to make the in crowd at school happy. And well, I guess Jesus says it in a nutshell. You cannot have two masters. The day comes when you will have to choose. You'll love the one and hate the other. That was Pilate's problem. I think that was Judas's problem. I think that's our problem whenever we try to have something that competes with what we know to be right. But being right is too hard, and we think it costs us too much. But in the end, not being true to the truth, that costs us more than any other choice we can make. Keep an eye out for those pressures that come into your life that want to force you to do something you are uncomfortable with. And just recognize it for what it is and turn away. With the help of the Lord, He will do that. Blessings to you today. Stay true. Stay honest in your walk with the Lord today. Blessings.